Welcome to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today we bring you stories of current challenges and breakthroughs in medicine. In Colorado, we tour a hospital where ER staff are training to better treat critically ill children. And in New York, we meet the doctors responsible for the first successful eye transplant. But we begin with the continued fallout from the 2022 reversal of Roe v. Wade. Idaho is one of 14 states with a near total abortion ban. Adriana Diaz meets with a patient and her doctor to learn why so many are feeling hopeless and frustrated.
I can't describe the amount of love that I have for this little girl.
Becca Vincent Brown says the joy of having her first child far surpassed anything she could have imagined.
There you go.
And how was it trying for a second?
It took us about a year.
And when you found out you were pregnant?
Ecstatic.
But at 16 weeks, tests revealed multiple abnormalities.
And it was at that point in time that it really kind of hit. Sorry.
Okay.
That it really kind of hit both my husband and I that it wasn't going to be a viable baby.
Doctors diagnosed Vincent Brown's expected baby with triploidy. Many of the organs were malformed, including the brain, kidneys, and heart, a fatal diagnosis for the fetus.
She explained to us that, you have a couple options. One, you could bring this baby until it spontaneously miscarries or stillbirths, or you can have an abortion. But unfortunately, because of Idaho's laws currently right now, it can't be within the state of Idaho.
She and her husband had to drive 7 hours to Portland and bring their 2-year-old because they couldn't find last-minute childcare. On the first day of a 2-day procedure, she was dilated, but overnight she went into labor at the hotel.
There was a really, really intense contraction and my water broke. We went to the bathroom and then ultimately I gave birth to the baby in the hotel bathroom. I had to stifle cries because my child is on the other side of the wall.
In her pack and play.
In her pack and play. Sleeping. And my other child is sitting in the hotel bathroom.
I think I have not gone to bed without thinking about what happened to her.
When Dr. Ann Feiner, Vincent Brown's OB in Boise, heard what happened, she was overcome with emotion.
Sadness, just really hopeless. I'm frustrated, feeling like there was so much harm that happened to her that didn't need to happen.
How dangerous was it for her?
Very dangerous.
Why is there so much confusion over the exemption that abortions are allowed if it's to save a woman's life?
Because it's really hard to define at what point you're saving that woman's life. Someone might come in an emergency, bleeding, and I won't know the right thing to do, whether it's legal or not.
Did Idaho go too far with this abortion ban?
No, I think it's a good starting point.
Idaho State Representative, Republican John Vanderwoude, who describes himself as pro-life, chairs the Health and Welfare Committee. He voted for the abortion ban, but says his position has evolved.
We have to have something in there that includes the health of the mother, not just the life of the mother. And I must say, I'm pro-life, but I'm also pro-life for the mother, too.
But he'll likely face resistance in the Republican-dominated Idaho State Legislature, which refused to add an exception to protect a mother's health.
So that was our decision, was to focus on the life versus more of a health type exception.
What do you plan to say to your colleagues who are steadfastly no on this issue?
I think they're wrong. That I think you can't be pro-life and not care about the life of the mother and the health of the mother. I just don't see you can separate those two.
Becca?
For now, Dr. Feiner says she's staying in Idaho.
Good. How have things been going?
Because of patients like Vincent Brown, who's expecting again.
Let me know if I push too hard, okay?
Oh, hello, face.
How do you feel about this law having gone through what you went through?
The trauma that I experienced, I blame completely on the legislation. And it's really pushing me to try to make a change.
We continue with another hurdle in healthcare, this one facing children. Only 14% of emergency rooms across the country are deemed pediatric ready to treat critically ill kids. Janet Shamlian explains how one ER is making crucial improvements to save their youngest patients and calling on other hospitals to do the same.
He got really tired and he stopped breathing and I couldn't wake him up.
It's every parent's fear, their child's life in danger.
Any medications in your purse, Mom?
In this case, it's a simulated emergency.
What kind of things could we work on or do better?
Part of new pediatric training at Grand River Health, a hospital in Rifle, Colorado.
What is the motivation for this hospital or any others to do this?
I think the statistics speak for themselves. A 40% reduction in morbidity mortality for kids in ERs that are pediatric ready is huge.
Critically ill children are almost 4 times more likely to die in hospital emergency rooms with the lowest pediatric readiness scores, according to a study published in the journal Pediatrics. In most states, readiness programs are voluntary.
A hospital trade group has come out and said it is not fair to expect every hospital in the country to have expertise in specialized pediatric care. What would you say to them?
I would say that it's certainly something every hospital should be doing.
Emergency equipment and medicine is different for children.
So this is our pediatric code card.
At Grand River Health, they've color-coded trachea tubes and other supplies based on a child's weight, something Kaylani Rust is grateful for.
We knew it was urgent.
What was your fear level at that point?
High.
Yeah.
Yeah, very high.
When Tucker Rust, a 4-year-old with diabetes, became critically ill, the emergency room was ready.
I think it's incredible. I think the biggest thing for us that we love about it is we don't have to travel to Children's Hospital for Tucker to get seen.
So what should parents do if there's no pediatric trauma unit nearby? Experts say most pediatric emergencies can be handled appropriately in any ER. So parents should take their child to the closest hospital to be stabilized, then advocate for a transfer if necessary.
Do you have any doubt that the changes you've made here have saved the lives of children?
Absolutely not.
Giving young patients like Tucker a fighting chance.
Coming up, an exclusive conversation with the recipient of the first successful eye transplant. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. In May of 2023, a team at NYU Langone Health achieved a major breakthrough, the first successful human eye transplant. Dr. John LaPook speaks with the patient and his physicians about this extraordinary achievement.
Aaron James has always been committed to his family, committed to his country, and committed to his career, helping to maintain America's power grid. But while doing that job on June 10, 2021, he accidentally touched a 7,200-volt power line. His wife, Megan, will never forget the call she got from his boss.
Aaron's been in an accident. I said, is he okay? And he said, from everything that I'm hearing right now and all of the details that I'm gathering, it's pretty serious.
Doctors in Oklahoma and Texas did all they could to save her husband of 20 years. His left arm had to be amputated above the elbow. He also lost his left eye.
And when you saw his face unbandaged for the first time?
I just took a deep breath and I said, all right, this is what we're dealing with.
Let's go 3. Good. All right.
The Arkansas native also lost his nose and front teeth and couldn't eat or drink normally. So he agreed to undergo a partial face transplant, including the world's first transplant of a donor's eye.
Could we include the eye with the face transplant?
Why would people think that you couldn't?
A whole eye transplant's never been done.
This isn't the first for plastic surgeon Dr. Eddie Rodriguez. In 2020, he performed the first simultaneous face and double hand transplant.
So then when you suggested doing an eye transplant and you spoke to ophthalmologists or neurologists or your colleagues, what did they say?
It's not possible. It's not going to work.
When you went to Mr. James and you suggested doing something that had never been done before, what was his response?
He didn't hesitate. He said, if I can help out other people and if I can help out other soldiers, it's worth it.
And he had been in combat, right?
Yeah, he had 3 tours. Iraq, Afghanistan, and Egypt.
So, Dr. Rodriguez and his team at NYU Langone Health spent 21 hours transferring the donor's face, eye socket, and the eye itself to James. A huge challenge was providing blood flow to the transplanted eye.
It was an exhilarating moment to just see that blood supply coming to the retina.
This is the 46-year-old now. It's been just over 5 months since the eye and face transplant.
I want to just put it out there right now that you have some trouble speaking still, right? Does it seem to be getting better?
Yes, it is getting better. Until I can get some feeling in my lips and get my jaw to open more and get some teeth.
You also have a lot of things that are working a lot better than before.
Yes, everything. It just blows my mind. I tell our guy, if I get close to a mirror, I just stare at it.
You're now looking for mirrors.
That's right. You know, now I want to go outside and let people see me, you know.
After the surgery, a huge question remained. Would light shined into the transplanted eye be recognized by the part of his brain that processes vision? To find out, James has had 2 functional MRIs.
I'm sure for visual will be even more.
Yeah, for this one, it's usually a lot more.
Then we covered his good eye and checked the transplanted eye.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
And we saw a response back there. Point to where you feel it.
Retina expert Dr. Vaidehi Dadanya is his eye specialist.
How about here? Can we be more astonished? Every level, every test has further increased our understanding of how this eye is functioning within his body.
$1 million question, maybe $1 billion question. Is it possible that the brain could rewire itself in a different way to be able to actually see an image?
I never say never.
But you never say never at the beginning of this, and it worked.
A lot of what we have seen does not necessarily support that, but that being said, this is unprecedented. So the question is it possible? Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at your eye now. Okay, looks pretty healthy.
We don't have sight yet, but I'm an optimist. And the one thing for sure that I can say now is that we are one step closer.
Whether or not he will ever see out of his new eye, Aaron James is committed once again, this time to advancing medical science.
It could potentially help somebody with blindness from any cause, from macular degeneration or whatever, but also it could help somebody who was in combat who lost their eye. I mean, did that go through your head?
If me doing it first kickstarts it, you know, I'm all for it.
Over time, you think you'd be able to open up that eye?
The nerves are starting to come up. I'm getting sensation
Really?
over here.
Isn't that amazing? Years ago, they would have said there is no chance at all that it will work. And I suspect that a lot of people right now said there's no chance it will work. And yet?
After I went home, every once in a while, I would Google, is an eye transplant possible? And it would say, you know, at this town, it is not medically possible.
ChatGPT and Google are going to have to catch up to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a good feeling.
Ahead, how some people are having psychedelic experiences without any drugs. That story is next. We close our show with the healing power of breathing. Activation breathwork is a technique some proponents say can create a psychedelic state, allowing people to confront anxiety, depression, and trauma. Lisa Ling travels to Arizona to experience it herself.
In Sedona, Arizona, surrounded by red rocks many believe have therapeutic powers, and with a group of people who've come from all over the country for a psychedelic healing experience.
What's going to happen today is it depends on your ability to surrender.
The facilitator here looks right out of central casting. Cowboy hat, tattoos, rugged good looks. Oh, and his name is Ocean Eagle. For the next 90 minutes, he's going to guide people on a journey of the mind, using a powerful tool that we all need to survive: our breath.
You can lay down or sit up.
The goal here, says Ocean, is to tap into, and if necessary, attempt to heal your inner child. For him, that inner child was a little boy named Marty Daniel. Tell me about your background, your upbringing.
I was born to double alcoholic parents. My father was, a very abusive man.
How did you deal with all the trauma that you endured as a kid?
I drank a lot. Ultimately, alcohol was my master.
But despite his addiction, Marty played college baseball on a scholarship and would go on to have a family and a successful real estate business. So you had the life.
But I was miserable on the inside. I've had the $1 million homes, I've had all the cars I've ever wanted, had it all. And none of it filled that hole inside me.
When did Marty Daniel become Ocean Eagle?
I met a woman that was a shaman that was doing shamanic breath work. So I lay down and I had a spiritual awakening of biblical proportions.
And that's when Ocean Eagle was born. He started training in holotropic breathwork and then developed a method of his own. So activation breathwork is something that you branded.
That's
it's
mine.
Your own brand of breathwork.
That's mine.
What is it and how does it work?
Well, what it does is it activates you on a cellular level. So the DMT that's found in ayahuasca, we build that naturally when we breathe that way. Nose, mouth, breathing, circular. When we breathe that way, we balance the CO2 and the O2 levels properly, which creates a moment of homeostasis so that we have a moment to heal.
Ocean claims this form of breathing naturally releases DMT in the brain, allowing people to enter a psychedelic state. DMT is found in some plants and psychedelics and can produce hallucinations.
We were given a soul contract, a mission.
Ocean Eagle's activation breathwork is underway. It starts with words of affirmation.
So how much do you love yourself?
And then the specially curated playlist starts to blare. What is happening to people when they are breathing that deeply and heavily, along with that pulsating music? Where are they going?
They're accessing the deeper wounding that's within them. Some people have, a lot of tears come up, a lot of crying. Some people have a lot of rage and anger come up.
Are people having a psychedelic experience?
When the DMT gets activated, yeah, they can have a total psychedelic natural.
Nafshin Luhar came here looking to connect with her little girl. Tell me about what your childhood was like.
So at age 4, I started to go through a lot of molestation. And in the Indian Muslim culture, molestation is not something that is very easily talked about. The repercussions of molestation had very much manifested in my psyche, in my physical body as well. By 6, I was already an obese child.
The scars would last into adulthood and eventually made Nafshin very sick.
Even though I had gone to therapy, I had worked on forgiveness, I had done so many things, it was still, the residue was so deep. I went to the doctor for a regular checkup, and they found that I had uterine cancer.
Nafshin had surgery and went into remission, but it was after a traumatic breakup that she found Ocean Eagle on Facebook and went to an activation breathwork retreat.
Breathwork helped me release 25 years of trauma. I just didn't even know what hit me.
What are you hoping to get out of it this time?
I just want to get rid of all the noise and connect to the little girl who wants to play and create.
So we're 45 minutes into this breathwork session and it's still as physical and primal as it was when it started, and it just boggles the mind that they haven't ingested anything. After 90 minutes, the music slows and people start coming back to a space their minds had left. Ocean gathers the group to talk about their journeys.
This voice was screaming in my head of like, why don't you ever ask for help? Why did you never ask for help? And I was just like sobbing because I realized that I'm the only one that's standing in the way of like my healing.
Ocean, being the most amazing human being in my life who actually connected me to my little girl. That's exactly what I did in my breathwork today.
Tomorrow is round 2 and someone you know will be giving it a try. I'll be honest, I am a little nervous about this because relinquishing control has always been something challenging for me, but I'm going to do my best to just surrender and see what happens. As soon as the masks go on and the music starts, we're off.
Place with a bunch of soul contracts you made before you came here.
It started off, and I don't know if it was the music, but it was very pulsating, and I felt very angry about the things that are happening in the world and these wars that men have plunged us into throughout history. My body starts shaking profusely and the tears flow. Ocean comes to lay hands on me, but I whisper, "Ocean, I need a woman." Jameen, another facilitator, comes and I feel her energy as though her hands are burning my back. At a certain point, I felt like I was holding the earth and I was almost like wrapping my mother hands around the earth because I think it's going to take a mother and this feminine energy, right, to heal this deeply broken earth. And then this woman, and after I took my shades off, she just like wrapped me in this blanket. It was that energy that I needed, that I recognized that I need to bring to the world. So that was my little journey. Yeah.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.